Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. FPL Consult here, and in today's video I'm going to share with you guys an updated Game Week 4 Wildcard Draft, and towards the end of the video I will also share an updated free hit draft for those of you on net strategy. So if you guys enjoyed today's video, please do drop a like, please do subscribe as well, and let's dive into this Game Week 4 Wildcard Draft that I have next to me, and you'll realize that it's a little bit different from what I initially uploaded, and the main reason is because of an injury to one of the key players on the Game Week 4 Wildcard, and that's Ismail Assar. So he's currently yellow flagged in the game, and what we're hearing is that he has a grade 2 hamstring injury that is likely to rule him out for 4 to 8 weeks, and that has obviously had huge implications on the players that I've chosen for the Game Week 4 Wildcard. And as I go along describing the different picks and the rationale for them, you'll kind of realize why as well. So I'll start off in goal with David Raya here. He plays Nottingham Forest in Game Week 4. Now over the next 2 to 3 game weeks, Arsenal's fixtures aren't necessarily the best. In fact, they're not really that good. But the main reason of including Arsenal players in this draft, Raya you'll see here in goal and also up front Gyökeres, is mainly because from Game Week 7 onwards, you will want Arsenal players. Starting with West Ham in Game Week 7, they go on a very good run of fixtures. You don't want to reach Game Week 7 scrambling with transfers to try and get Arsenal players in. So what I've done in this draft is I've done without Haaland, which is one of the key changes as opposed to the earlier draft I uploaded. I've done without Haaland, I've brought Gyökeres in and also Raya in goal here to start off with a couple of Arsenal players that you don't mind having. Gyökeres is likely going to be on penalties until Saka is out, and also with David Raya here, he's just a very good entry, 5.5 million into the Arsenal defense, cheaper than Gabriel, cheaper than Saliba, who is currently injured as well. So David Raya is just in preparation for Game Week 7. Same goes for Gyökeres up front as well. Going into defense now, it's Munoz, Lacroix, and also Virgil van Dijk. Now all of them great fixtures in Game Week 4. Sunderland from the Crystal Palace defenders and Burnley for the Liverpool defender in Virgil van Dijk. Now the main reason why I've chosen to go for double Crystal Palace defense here is because you realize that Ismail Assar is no longer available to be selected, but I still do feel like there's gains to be had for Crystal Palace against Sunderland. Not forgetting as well that defensively Crystal Palace have put up very good numbers this season despite starting the season in the first few games playing teams like Chelsea, but they still put up a very strong defense and kept clean sheets pretty well. So I do feel like I rate the Crystal Palace defense moving forward, and that's why I've chosen to go with two of them here. The crowd here is just really good for defensive contributions. He's one of the better ones in terms of attacking threat as well. He has picked up an assist so far this season. Munoz, we don't need to kind of elaborate on him too much. He is the most attacking Crystal Palace defender, playing as a wing back and very involved in the attack whenever he goes forward. So with Virgil van Dijk here, he covers the Liverpool defense, and he's actually the defender in the game so far that has picked up the most defensive contributions. So he's very good for DEFCON points. Starting with Burnley now in Game Week 4 and Everton in Game Week 5, I do feel like there will be a couple of clean sheets for Liverpool on the horizon. And in Game Week 3, they also just kept a clean sheet as well. So Virgil van Dijk here from Liverpool. On the bench, you'll see that I have two other defenders. Firstly, it's Senesi from Bournemouth. He's also great for defensive contributions. Bournemouth defensively are also looking pretty decent. They just played Tottenham and won 1-0. This is the same Tottenham that won Man City 4-0. And you kind of assess the numbers as well in the Tottenham versus Bournemouth game, and you really see that Bournemouth kind of shut out Spurs completely. They limited the number of chances they had, and I'm honestly surprised at how good Bournemouth are overall as a team. Not only are they defensively strong, but going forward they're also very, very promising. I'll speak about Semenyo later on, but I do feel like players leaving Bournemouth such as Howson, for example, or Zabarni, I do feel like the replacements that have come in for Bournemouth have kind of enabled them to continue being a very strong team and still a force to be reckoned with. So Senesi on the bench here, great for DEFCON. He plays Brighton. You don't have to start him this week, but I think moving forward he'll be quite a key part of this Game Week 4 wildcard. And then there's Goodmanson as well, just a very cheap enabler on the bench. Leeds fixtures moving forward for the next 6 to 7 game weeks are actually one of the best few. Granted that defensively, you may not want to start them every single game week, but they have just kept a clean sheet against Newcastle. So I do think that the Leeds defense, if you really have to start them, Goodmanson is a decent option to go for. He's picked up quite a number of bonus as well. Now, In midfield now, I have Salah, Reinders, Gakpo, Semenyo, and on the bench I have Paqueta. So I have Salah here. I don't think I have to discuss him too much. He's the captain for Game Week 4. As for my third Liverpool asset, I've gone with Gakpo here. I still think that you have to start with some form of a Liverpool triple up. Now that I've chosen to go for Gyökeres, and a lot of the money has gone into him, 9 million, I can't find the funds to go for Gyökeres and also go for Ekitike up front, and that's why I've opted to go for Gakpo. Now, I know that Alexander Isak has now signed for Liverpool, and that obviously means that Gakpo's minutes is going to be under threat. Ekitike's minutes is also going to be under threat, probably even more so than Gakpo. But what I feel is that Isak now has not started a Premier League game for quite a while, so at least for Game Week 4, and I'd say even Game Week 5, I think Ekitike and even Gakpo's minutes are pretty safe, I would say. So that's why I've still chosen to include Gakpo here in the Game Week 4 wildcard. He plays Burnley in Game Week 4, Everton in Game Week 5. After that, you could look to ship him out, but obviously assess the way that Isak is integrated into the Liverpool team and exactly how much of the minutes is taken out from Gakpo, for example, before you make that move later on. So that's something you have to bear in mind with this Gakpo pick, but I've chosen him as the third Liverpool asset. Next up, there's Semenyo. As I've said, I think Bournemouth are still a very good team to be reckoned with, and moving forward, their fixtures aren't too bad at all. Semenyo actually has put up one of the best expected goals numbers in the past 3 game weeks. He's had a good number of big chances as well, so I do think that Semenyo is a very solid pick to continue being in people's drafts. And then as an enabler, I have Reinders here. The main reason that I've gone for Reinders, Man City player in my team, is because from Game Week 6 onwards, I mean Game Week 6 they have Burnley, but from Game Week 6 onwards they have a small little fixture swing of about 2 to 3 game weeks where you'll want a couple of Man City players, and given that you probably won't have Haaland going with this draft unless you free hit in Game Week 6 for example, Burnley in Game Week 6 is going to be one of those weeks where you try to at least have a couple of Man City players, and that's why Reinders is here. And as for Paqueta on the bench, 5.9 million. Now I know he turns a couple of hits here and there. I'm not super confident of this pick as well, but the reason why I've included him here is he's very, very cheap. He's at 5.9 million. He's also on penalties. He's guaranteed 90 minutes for West Ham. And also, what I like about him is that he picks up defensive contributions points very, very easily. You see the way that he plays and his role in the West Ham team, it is just set up for him to get defensive contributions points, and he's picked it up in a good number of games so far already this season. So Paqueta is a pick that I have on the bench. Definitely not someone to start every single week, but if you do start him, he has many routes to points, so I don't mind him as a pick at all. And then up front, I have Gyökeres, Mateta, and João Pedro. Gyökeres, as I've mentioned just now, he's here in preparation for Game Week 7 when you'll want Arsenal players. As for Mateta, I do feel like you still need some form of a Crystal Palace triple up. So given that I've gone for double defense already and Ismail Assar is no longer a pick, I have Mateta here just to cover the Crystal Palace attack. And then there's João Pedro, who can't seem to stop scoring at this point. Brentford away for him is a great fixture, and given that Liam Delap is now ruled out for quite a while, they've even called back Mark Guiu and Jackson has left already. But what it just feels to me is that João Pedro's minutes is just so good right now, and he could be on penalties. Now I know that Enzo Fernandez took the last penalty for Chelsea, but a couple of fans have also noticed in terms of the pitch interactions on field that it seemed as if Enzo Fernandez looked back a little bit, got some, nod of acknowledgement from João Pedro before he took the penalty, and obviously after he scored, João Pedro immediately ran to him and was the first one to celebrate. So it seems as if there's some, speculation that João Pedro could still be on penalties, and he passed it to Enzo Fernandez just to, get him involved in terms of getting on the score sheet. So there's lots of speculation here, but I do feel like João Pedro is still a very consistent player. Even from open play, he does very well. So penalty is just an added thing, but we'll continue to monitor the penalties as they come along and whether Enzo Fernandez is first choice or João Pedro is first choice. But then obviously when Cole Palmer comes back, I think there's no doubt Cole Palmer still becomes the first choice. Now, last player on the bench that I haven't spoken about is actually Dubravka. He's just the bench fodder 4.0 million keeper. If you want a wild card, I see no reason why you would go a little bit more expensive there. So Raya and Dubravka as the keeper pairing here. So there we go for the Game Week 4 wild card. Let me know what you guys think. One of the main changes that I've done, I would say, is again just to account for the Ismail Assar injury, switch around a couple of Crystal Palace players, and also involve a little bit more of the Arsenal assets in the draft as opposed to the initial one. Most notably removing Haaland to include Gyökeres here and spreading the funds out a little bit so that every other area of the team is also strengthened. So let me know what you think of this Game Week 4 updated wildcard draft. If you are on a wildcard, where do you differ? And let's have a bit of a discussion in the comment section. If not, let's end up this video with a look at a updated Game Week 4 free hit draft. So in terms of an updated Game Week 4 free hit draft, this is where I'm at. Now again, it looks quite different from what I initially uploaded early on in Game Week 4. When I uploaded that draft, I actually had triple Liverpool in the form of Virgil van Dijk and also then 2 Liverpool attackers. But what you see here on screen is that I have Salah, Gakpo and Ekitike, all Liverpool attackers in this draft for a free hit. And I think the main reason, or at least looking at the couple of tinkerings that I've done, my conclusion was that there's not a lot of good attackers that you really want in a Game Week 4 free hit, aside from, Liverpool attackers and also especially Crystal Palace attackers, right? Salah has just got injured. We just spoke about him just now. And I just think there's a lack of, midfield options that you really, really want as well. So I think because of that reason, for the Game Week 4 updated free hit draft, I decided to just go very heavy on the Liverpool attack. Salah, Gakpo and Ekitike all in the team. Granted that yes, Isak has now been signed, but as I've said, he hasn't played a game in really, really long, and I'm talking about a Premier League game. No minutes so far this season. So I do feel like it will take a while for him to get up to speed. Even for the Sweden game that we've seen so far, at least as of recording, he didn't have any minutes whatsoever. He may have been involved in training with the international team, but no minutes so far in that game for him as well. So I do feel like in terms of a Game Week 4 free hit, having these 3 Liverpool attackers, I don't think there's too much to worry about. So Salah, Gakpo and Ekitike here as attackers. Now, in terms of defense, I do feel like there's a little bit more defensive options to go for, and that's the reason why I've chosen to just remove Van Dijk and have the third Liverpool asset being another attacker as well. So I take Van Dijk out, and you see that there's lots of defensive options that I can go for. Sunderland for Crystal Palace is a great fixture. I have Henderson and Munoz here. In the previous wildcard draft, I had Munoz and Lacroix as a double up, but I think Henderson here is just perfectly fine as a 1 game week keeper, covers the Crystal Palace defense as well. Munoz, he's great for attacking threat. And then I have Dan Burn here, great for defensive contributions, and Newcastle against Wolves is a fixture I think Newcastle can keep a clean sheet at, especially at St. James's Park. And then you look at Anderson here. Fulham play Leeds at home. I think that's a great fixture for him as well, and he himself is great for defensive contributions and the odd attacking return here and there as well. So again, my point is to say that for the free hit in Game Week 4, I think the attacking options are dwindling a little bit, but the defensive options are still, many to choose from, and that's why, Henderson and Munoz here, Burn and Anderson as the other 2 defenders. I spoke about the 3 Liverpool attackers already, Salah, Gakpo and Ekitike. So the only remaining attackers so far is Kudus and Semenyo in midfield, and Mateta and João Pedro up front that we haven't spoke about. So Semenyo, I still do feel like I prefer him over Evan Nielsen, and I do rate that the Bournemouth attack is good enough that you want to include Semenyo in your team. His numbers have been very, very good. Kudus as well. I think West Ham for Tottenham is a fixture I could see Tottenham scoring a few goals at, but I'm just not confident of any other players' minutes, any other attackers' minutes, other than Kudus, because Johnson is a minutes risk. Xavi Simons is very difficult for us to kind of predict where he's going to slot in, how he's going to fit into the team. So overall, I just say that Kudus is just very safe for minutes. Yes, I know that he is not as big of a goal threat. He's more an assist threat, but I still do feel like with the plump fixture for Tottenham. I at least want a piece of that, and so Kudus is here as my Spurs attacker. Then up front it's Mateta and João Pedro. I actually think these two picks kind of, put themselves in the team. João Pedro playing very well, and also Mateta on penalties for Crystal Palace with a plump fixture here. So for your free hit in Game Week 4, I think in terms of starting 11, this is where I go. Of course, on a free hit, you have a lot of extra money, and then you'll see on the bench as well, I can even afford Leno, who's the substitute keeper. King, playing for Fulham. He's a starting 4.5 million midfielder, by the way, so very good enabler as well if you are interested in having him in your wild card. He plays Leeds in Game Week 4 as well. Third on the bench, there's also Porro here against West Ham. Now, arguably, you could choose to start Porro. It could be a bit of a crime leaving such an attacking player on the bench, but I actually prefer the clean sheet chances for all of the defenders that I've started ahead of Porro here. But if you feel like you prefer Porro to start ahead of any of these defenders, Munoz, Burn or Anderson, go ahead. I just have him as a bench option because there's lots of money on the free hit that you could have a strong bench for. And then Tosin here, Chelsea have kept a clean sheet in majority of their matches this season so far. I still rate them as a defense. Tosin at 4.5 is just a pretty good enabler for your free hit as well. So there we go for the updated free hit draft. Let me know what you guys think of this. And also in terms of the Liverpool triple up that I've gone in attack. Would you do something different? Do you have a different set of Liverpool attackers and also Crystal Palace players as well? I would imagine that you would have some form of triple up for both teams. If not, let me know how your free hit team looks as well. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Please do drop a like. Please do subscribe as well. And I will catch you guys in more Game Week 4 content coming very, very soon. Bye-bye.